So it kind of looks like the next iPhone that hasn't really even came out yet already was kind of a mistake. The iPhone 14 Plus, which was supposed to be a interesting replacement to the mini lineup, which was the exact opposite of the mini lineup. It was a bigger phone. It was more expensive than that device. It was more expensive than the standard 14. And this iPhone is just another indication of, I'm not really too sure where Apple is going with it. But the thing is, they knew exactly what they were doing. And if you remember back in 2020, Apple went ahead. Let me just go back to 2018. They dropped the iPhone XR after they dropped the iPhone XS and XS Max, which I think was a really good thing to do. They went ahead and dropped, those phones separately, and the iPhone XR ended up selling pretty well throughout its, life cycle. Then with the 11 Pros, those things ended up, selling pretty well, but they dropped them the exact same times, all those phones. Then in the 2020 era, they did something very interesting. They dropped the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro on one side, and then a few weeks later, they ended up dropping the iPhone 12 mini and the 12 Pro Max. So they didn't end up dropping the same type of phones. They ended up dropping, the 12 and 12 Pro. And then they ended up dropping the 12 mini and 12 Pro Max. So almost like the opposite of each phone, they ended up dropping at the same time, which was actually really cool. And that ended up, helping those sales of those iPhones for the most part. Then obviously in 2021, they dropped all the phones at the same time. But this year, they dropped the iPhone 14, 14 Pro, and iPhone 14 Pro Max at the same time, but they left out the 14 Plus. Now, I don't know what they were thinking. I think they may have thought that the 14 Plus was probably going to go the road of the iPhone XR, where they were going to be like, oh, this iPhone could be like the thing that people look forward to, and maybe they'll end up buying this phone like crazy or something like that. And maybe that's what they're going to end up doing. But I think Apple learned from the mini lineup and probably knew they weren't going to do something like this again. Like, I'm not too sure. But basically what's happening is people are able to still go onto Apple's website and still able to pick up a day one launch day release iPhone 14 Plus this far into its life cycle. Like, it's been many, many weeks since this thing has been available for pre-order, per se. I've had my thing pre-ordered for a long time now, and it should be coming in hopefully like next week. But that's the crazy thing. This phone was supposed to be, I guess, super high in demand, and it looks like it's not going to be that high in demand at all. So will we ever see an iPhone 15 Plus? Or will we see the Plus lineup continuing to, keep coming? Or is this going to be another, flop in their lineup? And are they only going to give us the iPhone 15 and the Pro and Pro Maxes? And maybe people don't really want too many options as at this point, I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. Let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.